Have you ever felt like the rules of success are, I don't know, subtly changing around you?
Hmm.
Like the skills that maybe once guaranteed a stable, prosperous future are suddenly, well, less certain, maybe even becoming obsolete.
It's a feeling a lot of people have, yeah.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating journey, unpacking a groundbreaking idea from Daniel Pink's influential book, A Whole New Mind.
Ah, great book.
It's all about this massive, largely undetected shift, as he calls it, from the information age to something new,
Yeah,
the conceptual age.
precisely. And for decades, Western society especially, it rewarded a very specific kind of thinking. Pink calls it L-directed thinking,
Left brain stuff.
basically, yeah.
Mm.
Logical, linear, analytical. Think about computer programmers cranking out code, or lawyers meticulously drafting contracts, MBAs crunching
The
numbers.
standard path, right?
Exactly. That was the standard path. But as Pink argues, those keys to the kingdom are changing hands. So our mission today is to explore why this shift is happening, what new skills or aptitudes are rising up, and crucially, how you listening can not just survive, but actually thrive in this emerging world.
Okay.
We'll pull out the most insightful bits from Pink's work, kind of give you a shortcut to understanding what might be coming next for you.
Okay, sounds good. So let's unpack this seismic shift. Pink argues it's not random, right? It's driven by three really powerful forces. Can you walk us through those?
Absolutely. He boils it down to the three A's: abundance, Asia, and automation. And these aren't just like abstract ideas. They're fundamentally altering our economy, our society, even what we want out of life.
Okay, three A's. Let's start with the first one, abundance.
Right. So for most of human history, life was really about scarcity, the struggle for basic needs: food, shelter.
Sure.
But today, in much of the developed world, we live in what Pink calls breathtaking material plenty. We've basically satisfied, often oversatisfied, our basic material needs.
That's a really interesting point. We kind of take it for granted. What does that look like in real terms?
Well, the specifics are pretty wild. For instance, the self-storage industry in the U.S., it's a $17 billion business. That's actually larger than the entire motion picture industry.
Wow. We have so much stuff we need to rent space for it.
Exactly. Or the U.S. spends more just on trash bags than 90 other countries spend on everything.
That's staggering.
It is. And think about something like candles. It's a $2.4 billion a year business. Not primarily for light anymore, right? It's for beauty and transcendence.
Ambiance. Feeling.
Precisely. So the key insight here is that because our basic functional needs are largely met, our desires shift. We move from wanting just function to wanting aesthetics, emotion, meaning.
Okay, so if you're offering something that's just functional,
Yeah.
that's not enough anymore.
Increasingly, no. It's vulnerable. It's not about abandoning function, but enhancing it, like
Oh.
that coffee cup example you sometimes hear. The function is holding coffee, sure,
Right.
but a beautifully designed cup, maybe one made by a local artist or with a story behind it, that elevates the experience. It adds that high-touch element. If it's only functional in a world of abundance, someone else can probably do it cheaper, or it just doesn't stand out.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. We want things to resonate more deeply now. So moving to the second, Asia.
Right. Globalization. This means that routine white-collar work, the kind that was really the bedrock of the information age in the West, well, it can now often be done overseas for significantly less money.
We hear about this a lot with tech jobs.
Yeah, Pig gives a stark example. He met 4 programmers in Mumbai, India. They were earning about $15,000 a year for work that would easily command $70,000 in the U.S.
Huge difference.
Huge. And India produces like 350,000 engineering graduates every year. Over half of the Fortune 500 companies outsource software work there. GE, HP, Siemens, Oracle, big names.
And you said it's not just tech, right?
It's not at all. Financial analysis, legal research, even reading x-rays in radiology. These jobs are migrating too. Forrester Research estimated, I think it was back around 2015, that something like 3.3 million U.S. white-collar jobs would shift offshore. So the takeaway is, if your job involves, standardized, routine, L-directed work tasks, you can clearly define and repeat step by step. It's vulnerable. Someone, somewhere, might be able to do it cheaper.
That's a stark reality. But I mean, doesn't that kind of devalue the precision and logic that those jobs require? Isn't that still important?
Absolutely critical. But it's about where it fits. Logic becomes a tool within a bigger picture, maybe not the sole deliverable anymore. It's necessary, but often not sufficient on its own. Which leads us perfectly to the third force, Automation.
Okay.
So new technologies aren't just replacing human muscle anymore. They're increasingly replacing human left brains.
The classic example here is Garry Kasparov, right? The chess grandmaster losing to IBM's Deep Blue computer.
Exactly. That was back in 1997, a real watershed moment. Chess is like the quintessential left brain game memory, rational thinking calculation.
Pure logic.
Pure logic. And Deep Jr., another chess computer Pink mentions, can analyze 2 to 3 million possible moves every second. Kasparov. Maybe 1 to 3 moves per second.
Wow, no contest computationally.
Right. And the insight isn't just about chess. It shows that tasks we thought required high intellect can actually be broken down and automated. It really makes you ask, what can't be automated?
And it's only gotten more powerful since then. Where else are we seeing this?
Well, software that can write software. There are companies like Applegenics creating hundreds of lines of code almost instantly. Or look at the legal field.
Yeah.
Websites offering cheap divorces, basic legal forms online for under $15.
So routine legal work takes a hit.
Definitely reduces the demand for lawyers doing that specific kind of routine work.
Yeah.
So Pink's point is, if your job can be reduced to a set of rules or broken down into a set of repeatable steps, it's at risk. Automation might be coming for it.
Okay, so abundance, Asia, automation. These three forces are really reshaping things. What does this mean for you listening right now? Pink kind of boils it down, doesn't he? With three key questions.
He does. They're really clarifying, maybe a bit confronting. You need to ask yourself, 1, can someone overseas do it cheaper?
Right.
2, can a computer do it faster?
Right.
3, is what I'm offering in demand in an age of abundance? Meaning, does it offer more than just function? Does it have that aesthetic, emotional, or meaning component?
And his warning is pretty blunt.
Yeah, he says if you answer yes to question 1 or 2, or no to question 3, you're in deep trouble. It's a stark way to frame the challenge of this new conceptual age.
Okay, deep trouble. That sounds bleak.
Well, it could be,
Right.
But Pink doesn't just leave us there. It's not meant to be purely doom and gloom. It's more of an awakening call.
Right.
And to address these challenges, he introduces 6 essential aptitudes. He calls them the 6 senses.
Yeah.
These are what professional success and actually personal satisfaction, too, will increasingly depend on.
6 senses for the conceptual age.
Exactly. And the good news is, he argues these are fundamentally human abilities that everyone can master. They're our way to navigate our defense and offense for this new era.
I like that framing, defense and offense. So these 6 senses, they fall into 2 main groups, right? High concept and high touch.
That's right. High concept is about seeing the big picture, detecting patterns, creating beauty, crafting compelling stories, combining ideas in new ways.
Okay.
And high touch is more about the human connection stuff. Empathy, understanding social subtleties, finding joy in what we do, and pursuing that deeper sense of meaning. Together, they help build what he calls a whole new mind.
A whole new mind. Okay, let's dive into them. The first sense is design. And this isn't just about making things look pretty, is it?
Not at all. It's about, as Pink puts it, utility enhanced by significance. Function plus meaning.
Function plus meaning.
Good design is actually way more accessible now than it used to be. It's crucial for standing out in business. And yeah, it can even change the world. Pink tells this great little story about Gordon McKenzie.
Oh, yeah.
He went into elementary schools and asked the kids, who here is an artist? In kindergarten, like every single hand shot up. By 6th grade, almost none.
Wow. That's sad, actually.
Is. And Pink calls it a cautionary tale for our times because he argues the wealth of nations and the well-being of individuals now depend on having artists in the room. We need that design sensibility back.
So how are businesses, maybe even ones we don't think of as design you, adapting?
Well, look General Motors, symbol of the old industrial age. Under executive Bob Lutz, they started explicitly saying they were in the art business, putting design front and center.
Right.
Target, obviously, uses famous designers like Isaac Mizrahi for everyday stuff.
Huh.
Even the U.S. State Department changed its official font. From Courier New to Times New Roman, because that had crisper, cleaner, more modern look.
A font change made news.
Yeah. And Pink notes that everybody in the State Department understood what the memo was talking about. It showed that design communicates, even subtly. So we all need to cultivate an artistic sensibility, become designers in our own way, whatever our job is.
That's a really practical takeaway. Pink actually suggests an action for this, doesn't he? Like keeping a notebook.
Yeah. Keep a design notebook. Just jot down examples of good and bad design you see around you. It really sharpens your eye, increases your acuity.
Simple, but effective. Okay, next sense, story. This taps into something really fundamental, too.
Totally. Our brains are just wired for stories. Pink says we're ideally set up to understand stories, much more than just logic or data dumps.
Stories are how we remember things.
Exactly. They're how we connect, how we make sense of things. He points out, like, you probably remember the details of the Kasparov story we just mentioned
Yeah, vividly.
more easily than, say, a statistic about wages lost to outsourcing. Because stories capture the context, capture the emotions. Data informs, but stories stick.
And businesses are catching on to this power.
Oh, yeah. Organizational storytelling is becoming a big thing. Steve Denning at the World Bank found stories were way more effective for sharing knowledge than reports.
Hmm.
Xerox has this database called Eureka. It's full of repair stories shared by technicians. Basically how they solved tricky problems. It's estimated to be worth $100 million in savings and efficiency.
Wow. From just sharing stories.
Yeah. And on a smaller scale, Pink mentions a realtor who used a personal story about a former homeowner on a postcard. Made a high-touch connection instead of just listing the price and square footage. It worked. Or wine bottles, one with a story about donating to cancer research, sold better than a similar wine without one.
It adds that layer of meaning we talked about with abundance, even in unexpected places like medicine.
Especially there. It's shocking doctors interrupt patients after an average of just 23 seconds.
23 seconds.
Yeah. Dr. Jack Coulinan points out that medicine often completely eliminates the person's story. Just symptoms, data points. But places like Columbia University now have narrative medicine programs, teaching doctors to listen empathically, even keep parallel charts for the patient's story alongside the medical data.
That's powerful.
It shows that story is becoming a key way for individuals and entrepreneurs to distinguish their goods and services in a crowded marketplace.
A great reminder to listen more. And for practice, Pink suggests trying to write a mini saga. Tell a complete story, beginning, middle, end, in exactly 50 words.
Harder than it sounds.
Definitely. Okay, third sense, symphony. This sounds intriguing. It's about seeing the big picture.
Exactly. It's about synthesis, detecting patterns, connecting the dots, combining seemingly unrelated ideas into something new.
Yeah.
It's about crossing boundaries.
Crossing boundaries.
Yeah. Pink uses the example of learning to draw by flipping a picture, like a Picasso sketch, upside down. Tricks your logical left brain, which wants to name things, eye, nose, and lets your right brain just see the shapes and relationships, see the whole differently.
Ah, tricking the left brain.
Right. And think about people who excel at this. Pink calls them boundary crossers, like Andy Tuck, a philosophy professor and a pianist who runs a consulting firm, or Gloria White Hammond, a pastor and a pediatrician. They integrate different perspectives.
They combine things.
Yes. Nicholas Negroponte from MIT says, perspective is more important than IQ. That ability to make big leaps, connect disparate ideas, that's key for breakthroughs. Pink even has a fun name for it. The Reese's Peanut Butter Cup theory of innovation.
Huh. Putting two great things together.
Exactly. Like the guy John Fable, who combines suspension bridge principles with a backpack designed to create a totally new kind of comfortable pack, the EcoTrek. Symphony is also about metaphor making.
Understanding one thing in terms of another.
Right. Marketers use this all the time, like understanding if customers see coffee as an engine to get started or a ritual to savor. Choreographer Twyla Tharp even says your MQ, metaphor quotient, is as valuable as IQ in creative work.
MQ, I like that. And symphony also relates to pattern recognition.
Yes, a huge part of it. Interestingly, Pink points out that people with dyslexia, like Charles Schwab or Richard Branson, often excel here. Because they sometimes struggle with linear processing, they can develop an outsized ability to see the big picture, simplify, find the underlying pattern. One study found pattern recognition was the only cognitive skill that distinguished star executives.
So as specialized knowledge gets automated or outsourced, being able to connect the dots, see the patterns, combine ideas, that becomes incredibly valuable.
Critical. It's about context and relationship, not just isolated facts.
To practice this, Pink suggests a newsstand roundup. Browse magazines you wouldn't normally pick up, totally different fields, and look for surprising connections to your own work or life.
Great exercise for stretching your perspective.
Okay, number 4, empathy. Feeling what others feel. Understanding the human element.
Yeah, and this is deeply wired in us. Think about contagious yawning. Pink calls it a primitive empathic mechanism.
Never thought of it that way.
And then there's Paul Ekman's amazing work on facial expressions. He found universal expressions for 7 basic emotions across cultures.
Anger, sadness, happiness.
Right. Anger, sadness, fear, surprise, disgust, contempt, and happiness. And he taught people, FBI, CIA agents, how to spot micro-expressions.
Those super fast flashes of emotion.
Exactly. Less than a fifth of a second. They often reveal what someone's really feeling, even if they're trying to hide it.
So how can you tell a real emotion from a fake one? Like a smile?
Ah, the Duchenne smile. That's the key.
Yeah.
A genuine smile. A Duchenne smile involves the muscles around the eyes, the orbicularis oculi. Pink says they're only put into play by the sweet emotions of the soul.
The little crinkles by the eyes.
Exactly. A fake smile usually just uses the mouth muscles. You basically can't fake a Duchenne smile convincingly because those eye muscles are largely involuntary responses to genuine feeling. It shows the authenticity of real empathy.
Fascinating. So how does empathy play out in the professional world, even in non-caring fields?
Well, Stanford Business School has a famous course nicknamed Touchy-Feely. Lawyers need empathy to understand clients, to read juries, and think about nursing. It's consistently rated the most honest and ethical profession. Pay is rising. Why?
Because you can't outsource caring.
Pretty much. As Pig says, it's hard to deliver empathy, touch, presence, and comfort via fiber optic cable. It's fundamentally human work. Now, Pink does mention Simon Baron-Cohen's theories about potential gender differences, the female brain, perhaps more hardwired for empathy, the male brain for systems. But he presents it neutrally.
Right.
The main point is that empathy deals with ambiguity, context, the whole picture things rules and algorithms struggle with. So work that can be reduced to rules. Yeah. Vulnerable. Work that requires deep human understanding and connection. That's the future.
That makes perfect sense. It's a direct counter to automation and outsourcing. To build this sense, Pink recommends you study Paul Ekman's work. His book, Emotions Revealed, or his training tools can teach you face-reading skills.
Very useful skill.
Okay, fifth sense play. This one might surprise people. Play at work.
Yeah, it used to be seen as frivolous, right? Henry Ford apparently feared mixing work and play. But now, companies like Southwest Airlines have it in their mission. People rarely succeed at anything unless they're having fun doing it.
A fun mission statement.
Isn't it? And European companies use serious play, Lego building blocks, for executive training, using play for creative problem solving.
Lego for executives. I love it. And video games. They're huge now.
Massive. Bigger than the movie industry in the U.S.
Yeah.
The military even created a game, America's Army, as a recruiting and training tool, teaching teamwork and values. Games teach problem solving, strategy, self-expression. Pink notes literally 100% of American college students have played them.
Wow.
And the ideal hire for the game industry, someone who can bridge that left brain, right brain divide. Combine technical skill with creativity and playfulness.
And humor fits in here too.
Yeah. Research shows our right hemisphere is key for getting jokes, which often involves spotting incongruity. Good humor in the workplace reduces tension, builds morale. It's often a sign of high emotional intelligence.
Right. And then there's just pure joy. Laughter.
Yes. Dr. Madan Kataria Pink calls him the typhoid Mary of laughter. Started laughter clubs worldwide.
Laughter clubs.
Yeah. The idea is thought-free laughter, aiming for that unconditional joy kids have. And it has real benefits, reduces stress hormones, boosts the immune system. Kataria argues, laughing people are more creative people, they're more productive people.
Interesting connection.
So the big insight here from Pink is profound. The opposite of play isn't work, it's depression. Play actually strengthens the work ethic, fuels creativity and collaboration.
So embracing play is actually good for productivity. You can try this out by finding a laughter club. Apparently, many are free, no forms, no fee, no fuss, as Kataria says.
Worth a shot.
Okay, finally, the sixth sense, meaning this feels like the deepest one.
It probably is. Because of abundance, because we have our basic material needs met, we're freed from the struggle for survival and can now pursue deeper things. Purpose, transcendence, and spiritual fulfillment.
The big questions.
The big questions. Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor, wrote powerfully about this. He said, man's main concern is not to gain pleasure or to avoid pain, but rather to see a meaning in his life. This meaning want, as Pink calls it, is a hallmark of the conceptual age. It's amplified by things like the baby boomers aging and seeking purpose beyond careers and technology connecting us to bigger global issues.
And companies are recognizing this need for meaning too. It's not just about the paycheck.
Increasingly, yes. Ian Mitroff did a study, A Spiritual Audit of Corporate America. Executives define spirituality broadly as the basic desire to find purpose and meaning in one's life. And get this, companies that acknowledge these values actually outperformed those that did not.
Wow. Meaning is good for the bottom line.
Seems like it. Martin Seligman, the positive psychology guy, makes a distinction. There's the pleasant life, seeking positive feelings. the good life, using your strengths to get absorbed into activities. But the highest level is the meaningful life, using your strengths in the service of something larger than you are. Pink sums it up. Meaning is the new money.
Meaning is the new money. I like that. Pink shared a personal story about this involving a labyrinth.
Yes, he walked a labyrinth at Johns Hopkins Medical Center. He called it a moving meditation that kind of jams the logical, linear, L-directed thinking.
How does that work?
Well, the designer, David Tolzman, explained that the left brain gets occupied just focusing on following the single winding path. That frees up the right brain to be more intuitive, creative, reflective. Labyrinths are used in hospitals for relaxation, stress reduction. It's a physical way to access that deeper, meaning-seeking part of ourselves.
A tool for reflection.
Exactly. It underscores that finding meaning isn't just about feeling good. It's about purpose. It's fundamental.
A really powerful idea. And a final actionable insight here is the 2010 test. Ask yourself, would you still be doing what you're doing now if you suddenly had $20 million? Or if you knew you only had 10 years left to live?
That can be very clarifying. Cuts right to the core of what matters to you.
Okay, so we've journeyed through Daniel Pink's really profound insights on this shift to the conceptual age. It's pretty clear the world is asking for more from us now than just logic and analysis.
It really is. It's asking for a richer, more integrated way of thinking and being.
Yeah.
The future, as Pink maps it out, seems to belong to those who consciously cultivate these high-concept, high-touch abilities: design, story, symphony, empathy, play, and meaning.
And these aren't totally new skills we have to invent.
Not at all. They're fundamentally human attributes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe ones we let atrophy a bit during the information age's focus on pure logic. Now we need to reawaken them, strengthen them.
It feels like a transition that, yeah, it presents challenges, but also huge opportunities for people who are adaptable, willing to develop this whole new mind. And it's not just about work, is it? It's about a richer life overall.
Absolutely. It's about professional success and personal fulfillment. And maybe to leave you, our listeners, with one final thought from Daniel Pink himself. He writes, "The ideal life is not a fear-fueled pursuit of cheese. It's more like walking a labyrinth, where the purpose is the journey itself."
Not chasing the cheese, but embracing the journey. That's a truly thought-provoking idea for all of us to consider as we navigate this evolving world. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.